Hello, Playdate. This is Don.
This is Nick.
And I'm Ryan.
This week we're covering Playdate news.
Recent indie releases.
And in addition to sharing our annual Boogie Loops rendition of Old Lang Syne, we're also wishing you a very happy new bitty boo boo year.
That's a lot of pressure to remember to edit in the Auld Lang Syne boogie loops and edit out all those boops. Thank you for listening. Let's get started. How are you guys doing?
Doing
Great.
well. Yeah.
Let's hope the editing of silence is working on your editor, Don. I am doing great also. I
How
think we're all
about
thrown
you,
for a
Don?
loop because we don't have any corrections to make at the beginning of this episode.
Well, we haven't heard
Or
how
do we?
Don's doing yet.
Don?
I'm doing great. I'm so happy
Corrections?
to speak to you guys. Yeah, we have no corrections that I know.
That sounded I am very happy to speak with you.
I am so thrilled
Nobody
to
is
speak to
holding
the
any
two of
weaponry to
you.
my head.
No, not right now. I am excited to hear what news and notes we have, Ryan and
Me
Nicholas.
too.
Could you please share them?
Because here it comes, the news and notes, starting with Uncranked number 6 is dropping in January. And if I had to make a wager, if I had to make a little bet ski, I'd say you're probably listening to this episode in the month of January. I think we're dropping it on the New Year's Eve. But hey, if you're listening to it a few hours after we release it, Uncranked number 6 comes out this month. And if in case you missed it, in case you missed the Solstice Showcase, there was a sneak peek of the Uncranked number 6 all up in there. So if you want that sneak peek, now you know where to go, or you can wait mere moments for Uncranked number 6 to drop. Speaking of uncrankedness, the Uncranked Coffee Table Book Project is expanding. You may have heard that Zanya is putting together an uncranked coffee table book. Well, now it's no longer book. It is now books. There's going to be a book 1, which is a coding book. And Zanya is still looking for some devs who want to contribute some hints and tips, some helpful tutorials for coding, Playdate, games, and stuff. So if that is you, contact Zanya. I'll mention her contacts in a bit because there's a bunch of uncranked stuff going on. And while we're on the subject of multiple books, book number 2 is going to be an art book. And Zanya says there is a submission window open for Playdate pixel artists to submit their work. So if you are a dev who likes to teach folks about coding, or if you're an art person who likes to push some pixels and want to get published, contact Zanya. Hey guys, what are you thinking about all this uncrankedness at the end of the year?
Is it only pixel artists or is it traditional pen and ink artists as well?
Zanya told me pixel artist, but I can touch base and follow up with you about that. Does that make you less interested if it's only pixel art, Don?
No, I love pixel art. I might know a guy who would be interested in submitting something.
Okay. Nicholas, are you going to submit a stick bear for the
Yeah,
art book number 2?
Don, I hate to disappoint, but my art queue is full right now. But anyway, yeah, I'm excited to see these coffee table books when they come out.
Nick, don't you make pixel art? You've made of the three of us, you're the one who's made pixel art.
I mean, not exciting or impressive pixel art, or maybe it
No,
is. I don't know.
discredit your artwork.
I
It still
will.
counts.
It'll happen.
Anyway, that's
Discredit.
cool.
But
Yeah.
before we, self-flagellate anymore, let's move on to the next news and note,
Here we
which
go.
is the fact that you can nominate a Playdate pixel artist for the Playdate Visual and Musical Artist Showcase in February. Evidently, Zanya has enough musical talent already, but we are going to toss a link to that form in the show notes for today's episode, so you can do that. Also, speaking of that art book number 2, rewinding a little bit, just heard back from Zanya, want to do the follow-up, and Zanya says, yes, indeed, as long as the art is Playdate related, it does not have to be pixel art. It can be non-pixel art as well. So good question, Don. And Zanya,
Yes.
thank you for that speedy follow-up. My goodness. Also, just a friendly reminder to order any zines or calendars before the shipping goes up January 1st. So if you're listening to this podcast in the first moment that it is released, you might be able to get in on that current cheap shipping rate before it goes up to a reasonable shipping rate. We all know that Zanya is not charging enough, so thank goodness she's raising her rates. But in the meantime, you can slip in on that on that old shipping rate. So that was a lot of Uncranked, a lot of Zanya. And if you are interested in contacting Zanya, you can do that on Discord, Bluesky, Mastodon, Twitter. And she is at Zanya Lasagna on all those. That's XANIALASAGNA. Find her there, and you can be a part of all this amazing community stuff that she's putting together. Guys, how impressed are you with Zanya?
Very, very
Very,
impressed.
as always, yes.
Jinx.
All right.
What else you got?
Well, I have some more news and notes for you, starting with the fact that there is even more Playdate merch to be had. They are loading up the old Cotton Bureau with more stuff. A couple of highlights I thought I'd mention here are the Robot Rally Fishbowl Champs 2024 shirt, which is kind of funny. I guess they want it to be instantly retro since it's almost 2025. And then there's also a really great, like, cartoon illustration for the Barkless Doctrine. I'm not even familiar with that game. Are you guys familiar with that game?
Yeah, it was one of the
Yeah.
catalog launch games. It's a what is it, like a no visual novel, I guess, sort of
Okay, okay.
novelty.
Hmm.
Lots of reading.
Okay, probably why I didn't get into it. But the shirt looks amazing, so maybe I'll have to. Anyhow, those are a couple of highlights for me, but there's also new pulp shirt and hat to be had. It basically just says pulp. There's also a shirt that proclaims the fact that you are a Playdate developer, if you want to proclaim such a thing. And then there's also, you guys sounded like you were more knowledgeable about this one than me. There's like a Playdate Sunshine with little crank feet. What's this one all about?
Nick, what's the origin story behind Crinkles? What's the lore?
Let me pull up the store page. I mean, let me pull this from my memory banks here. Let's see. Crankles is the name the Playdate community has given to the symbol of the Designing for Playdate document, a set of best practices and advice for making Playdate games more accessible and pleasant to play. It's a good idea.
It's a great idea. Yeah, very cute
Yes,
logo as
it
well.
is very cute.
Cool. So you got a few more ways to plaster the Playdate about your bod. We'll have a link to that Cotton Bureau website in the show notes for today's episode. And moving on to some more news and notes, we have an installment from NNN. You may recognize this developer's name from Angel Pop, one of our picks of the week a while back. And they posted a list of 100 Playdate games where English is not necessary to play. So they posted this in another language, I believe Japanese, if I'm remembering correctly. Pardon my faulty memory if I'm not. But anyhow, this is a cool list to see. So if folks who are not native English speakers want to give the Playdate a try, hey, here are a list of 100 snazzy games you can try. And speaking of developers, mentioning cool.
Can I cut in?
Yes,
They're
please.
putting together a booklet in Japanese about each of
Oh,
these
very
100
cool.
games. So
Oh, killer.
it's not quite out yet, but it's on its way.
Fantastic. Don, thank you for interrupting. That was a fine interruption. Um, and then also, Resolvi Productions. Now, you may remember that developer name from P Racing. He posted some clips of Super Agent, which is a game that's currently in development. And one of them had this really cool, like 3D runner type first person perspective showing a shooting mechanic. But then just a couple days ago, they also posted this new, like, icy mechanic. So the runner is, sliding around a little bit more. Looks amazing. I've got two links for you today in the show notes from Resolvi Productions showing off the new game they're working on. So thought I'd, get the hype train moving for Resolvi Productions. Looking like a cool game coming up. What do you guys think?
I was just trying to challenge myself to find these links on Blue Sky.
Yeah.
But yeah, it does look very cool. It's got like the a Mario 3D, basically similar type of graphical style, but amazing the things that Resolve is doing with the Playdate. I mean,
Totally.
P-Racing was already pretty mind-blowing, and now taking that from a racing, I mean, removing it from just the racing genre and putting it into a 3D platformer genre is pretty astounding.
Yeah, the 3D
Agreed.
rendering he's able to accomplish is really impressive on the Playdate.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Big brains in the Playdate space for sure.
indeed. That's why are we here, guys? I don't know. Anyway, speaking of which, we've got kind of a light show going on today because I don't know if you knew, but it was the holiday season. So not a ton of news. I found some news, but we reached out to our big brain Discord and said, "Hey, what do you big brains want to know from our small brains?" And we have some questions, which means we have a new segment. Hoobity boop. This segment is called Questions from our Discord lovely folks. So the
Very
first
creative.
question is from longtime listener, friend of the show, Ledbetter. And he says, if you, yes, you, Nicholas Baldridge, we're starting with you, we're giving someone a play date for Christmas or Hanukkah or Kwanzaa or other holidays, if you were giving someone a play date, what games would you make sure were on it? Nick.
Um, I probably, this is a boring answer, but I probably wouldn't put any games on it. I think the joy of discovery is
Oh,
very
Cop
exciting.
out.
Well, there's the season games, and they get to enjoy those and then explore out from there. But yeah, I wouldn't probably pre-fill. Anyway, I'm sure both of you have a better answer for this, so go for it.
You didn't answer the question. He said, what would you, not what would Panic
I
put on it? Come
my
on now.
my my answer was nothing. There you go.
wow.
Boo.
Nick, and I would expect Nick to give a patented tutorial on how to sideload a
Yeah,
one-on-one
that here's how
private
you access the
session.
menus. It's just, yeah. Now that is possible, but that's not software that I would preload on the Playdate for them.
Yeah.
I can see Nick doing that. Teach him how to fish instead of
Teach
giving
him
him how
how
to
to fish.
fish. All right. Okay. Fine.
That's
Don.
that's worth a pile of games. That's a million games.
Don, how about a better answer from you?
Oh, but no, an equal answer. All right, I you got to put Balanced Brew on there. The unicycle balancing game.
Hmm.
That's definitely one of the go-tos. Short bursts. I'm gonna put Generations on there. My inaugural
Nice.
game of the year.
Yeah.
Let's see. I would put Island on there. I think something that we haven't seen in a while that we had some really strong gems early on in the Playdate, whatever the Playdate life cycle, were these charming short narrative games, and
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Island was one of them. Life's Too Short was another one. Art 7 was another one, but I would put Island on there to help support that, and then maybe like a joke that's worth 99 cents. I feel like most people would pick that
That's a
up,
great one.
but that's a
That's a
good
great
one.
one.
And then
Yeah.
Shift 2, maybe? Shift 2, I never get tired of.
Hmm.
Another puzzle game, but I mean, you got Generations there. I don't want to go too deep into the Scenic Route software, but you can't miss with the Scenic Route software either.
That's true.
So
And
true.
then,
Post Hero.
yeah, Post Hero. And then finally, maybe Four Track, that golf game, that golf sort of procedurally generated golf game that I really liked, where all the
Ah,
holes are
yes.
on the same screen.
Yes, yes.
Another short, I like those bite-sized games. So I could probably name 50 games, but I'll stop there. Ryan, what am I missing?
Um, let's see. You got to get some crank-based bangers on there. So I'm kind of partial to, well, I guess I'm going to go like between Nick and Don on this question. Maybe point someone to a couple of season release games like Whitewater Wipeout and Crankin's Time Travel Adventure. I love both of those crank-based games, but I also love stuff like The Fall of Elena Temple. I wouldn't say that's
Mm.
necessarily crank-based, but it definitely uses the crank mechanic in a really lovely way. It's such a perfect platform puzzler, and I'm real big into that genre. I also really love The Keeper, despite not finding out about the walkthrough until after I completed the game. I super love that game, and I hope that other people can experience that too. It was just such an environmentally vibey, I don't know, experience. It was the whole experience. It just, it took you into this place and allowed you to get lost and find your way out and experience different puzzles, but also experience some off the wall lore and environments. And yeah, oh man, I just love that game. So yeah, The Keeper as well. And if you hadn't listed the Scenic Route Software catalog of games, I would have mentioned Generations as well. That's one of my faves. Oh, I also really enjoy Snecris. I think that might have been a Dawn pick of the week,
Hmm.
was it not?
Yeah, yeah, a couple months ago.
Yeah, I got into that big time, and once I got my Playdate back just a couple weeks ago, it was one that I dove back into and remembered really enjoying. So, yeah, those are a few for me. I guess I'll cut it short there. I feel like, all of us could go on ad nauseum, but those are maybe like top five-ish for me.
Yeah. Um, First one that I would help them preload is Super Corporate Tax Evader, though.
There you go.
Mm,
Yeah.
love
I
it.
can
That's a
Yeah.
good one
like,
too.
yeah, teach them
He
how to
caved.
evade taxes.
I knew he'd come around. Good job, Nick. All
We need
right.
that we need that chair spinning game. I'm
Yes.
really
I,
looking forward to that one.
isn't it out already?
No, not yet. I think it's coming soon though.
Huh. Okay.
I forget the name, but
I mean,
similar, similar vibe.
isn't it Super Corporate Tax Evader 2?
Super chair. No, is it? No, I forget the
No.
name.
It's by the same dev, right?
I don't think so.
Really?
I thought it was,
You're
yeah.
making me feel even more
I'm
uninformed, but it was something
I'm
about spinning a desk chair. I don't think it's the same dev. I'm
it's
pretty
like
sure it's not.
desk chair curling, right?
Yeah, that sounds
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. Anyway, we'll look up our misinformation and come back with you in the new year with some corrections. In the
I just
meantime, we
I just loaded up that dev's itch page, and there's two games that I haven't played by them yet, so I need to check that out. One is a
are
browser game, not a Playdate game.
And then the
so
line
am I
waiting game, right?
am I a
Hmm?
bunch of wrong? Are those two separate devs then? Super Corporate Tax Evader and chair
Well,
office
they
chair
don't have an
curling?
itch page yet, but yeah, I think it is the same dev.
Yes.
Is it out by Suika something?
Suika, yeah.
Okay, it is
That
the same
sounds
guy
right.
then,
That
because
sounds
that's
right.
I found
Yeah.
the Reddit page for it.
Okay. Cool.
Ah,
All right. Corrections avoided. Fantastic. Which brings us to our next Big Brain Discord member, David, saying Happy New Year and had a few questions, but we're going to hone in on one of them, which is what would be your wish list for UI changes on the Playdate? All right, this sort of infers that it's not perfect as it is. What do you guys think? What would you change? What are your UI requests for Playdate 2.0 should it ever come out?
I want to double tap the menu button to unlock, not just the power button.
Hmm.
Even after 3 years, I'm always tapping the
That's a
menu
good
button
one.
to
I
unlock
don't
instead of
I
the
don't
power
think
button.
I've ever done that. That's a very interesting thing.
Oh,
But
I'm with Don. Yeah, that's a good one.
I if we're doing that, might as well make it so any double tap of any button does it,
like
right?
the
Sure.
Switch.
Yeah, why
Double
not?
A.
Yeah, let's go all the way.
I mean, nothing's doing anything at that point. You may as well allow anything to open it up. Sure.
We need folders so badly. I want folders.
That would be killer.
I
Hmm.
know that Ledbetter he like rigged a way to get folders in there, but
Huh.
that's over my head. Like I can't do
Is
that.
this might be a little beyond UI, but a request that you know that I have is to allow for some sort of front lit functionality like a Game Boy Light or something that could allow me to play in low light situations. I would really love to be able to play, a couple minutes in bed before, I shuffle off to slumber. Um, but it
I'm
would be nice
gonna.
to have something that wasn't backlit.
You see
Yeah.
my light on here? I'm showing you on my
Yes,
camera.
yes, I appreciate that humble brag. I see your light, Don.
Works
Looks
great.
very nice. I am hoping to have a little report next time about such a thing. We'll see. Anyway,
Ryan, have you
um,
tried flashlight?
Do you own a lamp?
that would be difficult if I had to crank, but could not hold the Playdate with the other hand.
That's true.
Mag light with the
I'll
little
have to.
tooth, the little mouth grip.
There we go. That's the real thinking there.
All right.
Um,
Like we
another
said,
one,
big brains here.
another one. A way to view our screenshots on device.
Can you take screenshots? I didn't
Yeah,
even know that.
yeah.
Yep,
You hit
in
the
the
menu button,
menu.
you can take screenshots, but you can't
Yeah.
view them on device. That's not
Never have.
fun. And I
That's a
want to
very good
create
one.
generate once you can view them. I want to generate a QR code to like the Switch where you can send
Oh,
them to your
killer.
cell phone
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
so you can
Don,
post
you're
them on
full of them
social
today.
media.
I like
Uh,
these.
I'm almost done. I'm emptied out, so I don't know about full, but I want those. I want those done for sure. I'm glad that we have the list view. I was taking pictures of all of the cards, the dashboard cards, for
Mhm.
years, and I finally gave up a couple months ago. I was like, I'm done. I'm never uploading these to the wiki. They all look like crap because I got to get just the right angle and whatnot. So it was a waste of time.
It's probably
Well, that
easiest to
was
do that in the simulator, right?
Yeah, but then I gotta wait to open them and put them in the simulator, I guess, and open them there. Or I don't know. I don't know the best way to do it in the simulator.
that was
Actually,
very
that's a good
ambitious of
point.
you.
Yeah.
Nick, you got any
Anywho,
UI requests?
Not really. I'm a pretty simple guy, but I would say that
No game
uh,
recommendations, no UI requests.
yeah.
Everybody take your questions and get out of here.
Well, um, I suppose the double tap using multiple buttons is a good idea. I would probably get some use out of folders, but I also wouldn't feel like I would have the time to organize stuff into folders. So having the option would be pretty much useless for me. Having some sort of optional front light thing would be nice, but it probably wouldn't increase my playtime. Um, so yeah, I don't know. I don't have a whole lot of quibbles other than within individual games. So when developers fill out the pause menu or whatever, um, having non-standard options or options which are named awkwardly makes things challenging sometimes. But that's more of a game by game quirk rather than a uh, you know overall UI thing.
mhm.
Do you have any specific examples rather than just
Well, yes,
awkward
Ryan,
options?
I do.
That's a little broad.
No,
Don't.
I don't.
Well, like
Um,
letting us leave our prank on dock, like something like that, where it's up to
sure.
the dev.
Yeah, maybe.
I guess
I
that's
don't
not
know.
really a menu thing,
Yeah, I'm talking
menu
more about
population
like,
thing.
you know, uh, putting stuff in that menu which you're not expecting. Maybe in-game option menus versus those. Anyway, I'm not explaining it well, and it doesn't really matter because it's not an overall Playdate thing. But
We love you,
yeah,
Nick.
um, yeah, I don't like I say, I don't really have a whole lot of feedback there. The device itself would probably have to change, and implementing some kind of screenshot sharing thing would require Panic to implement some sort of service, and then a lot more internet connectivity stuff. So I don't even know if the Playdate, as it sits, could currently handle it. But that'd be an interesting thing. I don't think I would ever use it, but I think it'd be interesting.
Well, all this
I
to say,
mm,
I agree with Nick that this lovely little device is pretty amazing as it is.
Hmm.
These are all very minor quibbles, but it was fun to get these questions from our lovely Discord members. So thank you for chiming in here and helping us fill out this holiday show a little bit, which
I
brings
I
us
would like to
to
hear from community
what?
members what they think about
Oh,
this.
yes.
So,
Yes.
um,
This is an
if
opportunity for
if
Discording.
you yeah, if you respond in the Discord, I'd love to see what other people think. So, my opinion is an opinion. It's not a good opinion, but it's an opinion. But I'd love to hear what other people think. So yeah, let us know.
Very good. All right. We look forward to hearing opinions. Now that you've heard the best, let's hear from all the rest. No, just kidding. Just kidding. Just kidding. Now it's time for Hoobity Boop Indie Inventory. This is our final segment of the show. And this one is, wait, no, not, yes, no.
No.
It's our
Indie
next to
Inventory.
last.
Second.
Yep. We got one more after this.
Okay.
Yeah, we do. Guess I felt like the show was running long there. Okay. Hoobity Boop Indie Inventory. Don, take it away.
So this week, it's a quiet week, holiday week. We've got The Seven Bridges of Königsberg by Orange Thief Games. This is a classic puzzle, but they've distilled it into a little narrative game. So check it out. It's a name your own price, and yeah, they did a great job with Resident Tale, and we know this is going to be high quality. I've downloaded, haven't played, so interested to give it a shot.
Yeah,
And
looks really cool.
yes. And last up is Rocket Pult Mini, which came out a few weeks ago and somehow I missed it. This is $5. It's reimagined for Playdate. Use the crank to fuel up and launch your rocket. Land it on targets with skill and style. It's similar to Lunar Lander, but you're using like a catapult to launch your rocket.
Is
then-
it similar to Lunar Lander?
Well, the landing part is you're using your fuel to gently land your land your rocket.
This is all moving so fast in the gifts. It's hard to. Hard
It
to
looks
envision.
pretty amazing.
It looks like a very
Actually, I
wacky
love,
version.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I love the spin your rocket until it launches part, and then having to stabilize your rocket after it's hurtled through the air looks really interesting, actually.
It's really challenging.
Yeah. Wow.
It does have Rocket Pult Classic is a flash game you can play here on itch. So if you want to
Huh.
try it out first.
Oh my God, what is happening in the last GIF where
It's just
like
wiggling back
bobbling
and forth.
around on the ground?
It looks like the parachute's like throwing it off or something, like
I think they're trying to upright it.
trying. Yeah.
Whatever's happening, we need to give that a try. But yeah, awesome finds, Dawn. And I don't know if you want to allow me to try to redeem myself after last week's catalog on sale barrage, or if I should turn this over to you guys. Maybe I should turn it over to you this time.
There's a bunch of stuff on sale for like another week and a half or so, week or so. I don't know. Go check it out. You can always check out the on sale page on Playdate catalog
Yep, we'll
and
have a
see
link
what
to that in the show
surprises
notes as well.
lie within. Yes.
Yeah.
There's a link in the show notes.
Indeed. Did we mention the link in the show notes?
Because there is one.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of link in the show notes, are we ready to move to the next section?
The really for real last segment of this week. Are you guys ready?
Ready.
Hoobity boo boop. Pick of the week is Unicycle Madness. This time it was chosen by me, and this is a name your own price game. It is a pleasant little score chaser. At least that was my opinion. We'll hear from Don and Nick and what they think about it. But essentially, you are a clown, but don't let that scare you. In fact, the starting screen even tells you that there's a little clown warning at the beginning. I love that.
Yeah.
And it is a one-screen game. You are a clown on a unicycle, riding back and forth in front of a crowd, and you are doing your best to dodge. I would say a variety, but I think there's only a couple of different obstacles for you to avoid. The crowd periodically throws cakes at you. Very rude crowd, and also you're evidently performing in the swamp because an alligator will pop out and come chase you down. So you have to dodge the crosshairs where the cake is coming at you. At the same time, periodically, alligators pop up. And there's a little exclamation point, blink, blink, blink on one side of the screen or the other. So you know from which way the crocodile will emerge. And once it does, you got to whoop, hop over it using that A button while you are using the crank to move left and right across the stage to avoid the cake. This is a game with some options, which means you do not have to use the crank to, motivate yourself left and right. You can use that D-pad to move left and right as well if cranking makes you angry. Um, Let's see. So basically, this is a time-based game. Your, I guess points, you don't have points, you have time. So the longer you can survive on stage, the better you're doing. And there is also a couple of other options, meaning you can either do it at normal or advanced. No, hard is what they call it. Normal and hard mode. So depending upon your challenge, you can pick either one of those. Guys, there's a little description of this game. What did you think? What were your thoughts about this particular pick of the week?
Don.
I'll jump in. I had a hard time with this one. I like the art, I like the physics, I like the idea, but I had a really hard time getting any scores going. It seems like I could dodge the cakes pretty easily, but the alligator I could not deal with the alligator. The thing with the gator is you have to jump over it and kind of anticipate where it's going to be, and you have to gain momentum in order to jump over it. As far as I could tell, you couldn't just bunny hop over it and let it run under you.
Depends on the speed of
Yep.
the crocodile.
Okay. It was always going too slow for me to just bunny hop over it, from a standstill anyway. And I lost my train of thought a little bit, but
I'll jump in here for a sec
yeah,
while you
please
regain
do.
it and say, I think that you may have been playing strictly on normal mode if you were
Yeah,
unable to bunny hop over the alligator, because it speeds up in hard mode,
I
which
don't know
actually
if I
makes it a
tried.
little
Is
It's
hard
easier.
mode easier? I don't know if I tried
Well,
hard mode.
hard mode is definitely a bigger challenge.
yes.
Also, depending on how long you are active on the screen, the crocodiles will move at different speeds, even in normal mode. So,
As do the pies. The pies
yes,
start coming more frequently
those
the
are
longer
cakes,
you stay.
Ryan. If you look at them,
Cakes, yes, cakes.
um,
Cylindrical desserts.
there are so many cakes. That's really one question I have: is who is baking all these cakes? Where are they coming from? And who's releasing these crocodiles on stage? That's really a bit of a problem.
Like I said, I think this is set in the bayou.
You think?
It must be.
That's why the gator's just running around.
Yeah.
Well, they're
Nobody's really.
crocodiles. They're not gators, though.
Are you sure about
That's
that?
true.
Yeah,
it
it's on
says
the
in the
it's on the itch
description.
page. They
Boy,
Whatever
you
it
got me.
is,
this is
it's
really what we
difficult
need
to
to
jump
argue
over. Yeah.
about. So I really enjoyed this game. This reminded me a lot of classic Atari 2600 games, single screen games, where you're trying to score attack, or you're trying to stay alive, or you're trying to clear the screen, or whatever. I think this is a genre that the Playdate does very, very well. And this was a very clever idea. And I also really enjoyed the artwork. I spent a lot of time trying to knock off the top time on both normal and hard mode, and could not do it. But it is a lot of fun, in my opinion. The big tip that I have is just to keep moving, constantly be cranking, and you're changing direction all the time. You're jumping very frequently, and you're watching out for those cakes because your hitbox is very large. I think it extends back in a rectangle. I'm going to start pronouncing words very oddly now, but
in a rectangle that extends to the back of your hand that is extended to the rear. So it's a very large hitbox, and consequently, you need to be pretty far away from the cake in order to not get creamed. But yeah, it's very challenging, even to stay on the stage when you're moving really quickly in hard mode. So that also will end your game if you roll off of the screen too far. So anyway, I really enjoyed it. The soundscape is fairly simplistic, but it's fun and funny.
I was
And,
waiting for one of you guys to talk about the sound.
The
Yeah.
home.
Yeah.
Multiple screens would be a good thing. I think Lloyd Bear might have brought that up. Like having
Sure.
it is novel.
Mm-hmm. And there's other interfacing improvements if we're talking about interfacing like we were earlier. I think Ledbetter also mentioned being able to see all of your times would be helpful. I think just the top 3 is sufficient as long as you're able to place at least in third place. But maybe not everybody has that experience with the game, so it's a little harder to know how well you've done. But yeah, I like to say, just really enjoyed this game. Thanks for the pick.
Well, I'm glad you liked it, Nick. Despite your rectangle getting hit by the kakes and the crocodiles. But with that said, I also really like the fact that this game just continues to loop. You don't even have to press A to keep another game coming along. And with score chasers, that was really handy for me. I really like that aspect. The only time it stopped you after a game is if you got a high score, and then you can input your initials. So I really liked that aspect of it. I think there were some great suggestions for UI changes so far, but overall, I really enjoyed it. I thought the artwork was really fun, super serviceable, really easy to see, and I loved the sound. I think the music, while repetitive, was really enjoyable and theme appropriate. It's circusy music. That's what you want for something like this. Anyway, I thought it was fun. So yeah, is this the part where we start comparing times? Do we do that? Should we do that?
I don't know about that. We could let us. I've said this before. Let us set the best score and then improve it from there, right? Or at least let us set the third score. Put a 0 for the third score. It's not fun to chase an impossible. It's weird having the best score be the top score. You know what I mean? Having the best score staring at you. Like if they had the worst top score in the corner or something, like you're staring at like such a high goal the whole time. That was a little bit of a like, oh man, I'm never gonna get 105 seconds. Even looking at the GIFs, none of these have beat the best score.
That was a motivation for me. Got me fired up, Don.
Yeah, I
So what are
sort
your-
of enjoyed that too. Even though I was quite far away from it, I did enjoy seeing that and thinking, okay, well, there's room to grow.
What were your top scores then? Does it track? Does it keep track?
Well,
Yeah.
when you register a high score, yeah.
Okay.
In normal mode, my best was 72 seconds even.
Wow, that's really
and
good.
It was. I was very disappointed. I thought that was going to be the one that cleared the top score, but not quite. And then I wasn't able to repeat it. In hard mode, just over 30 seconds, 30.5. And I tried both with D-pad control and the crank control. And in my opinion, the crank control is much easier than D-pad control.
I ended up coming back to the same conclusion you did. Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's harder to get the nuance of just how much speed you're trying to acquire, velocity as you're moving. back and forth, so it's harder to adjust with the D-pad. But the crank is perfect. I really enjoyed the crank control, and cranking it faster, you move faster. It's pretty straightforward. So good use of the crank. How about you, Ryan? Do you have some times?
Yeah, I got some times. My normal was not as good as yours. I think I got into the 60 range on normal.
That's good.
But I did best your hard score. I think I got into
Nice.
the low 40s on hard.
Ooh.
I did not best a number one for either of them, but yeah, I feel like this is a game where I could keep going at it and keep trying and keep getting closer. This game, while I enjoy it and I chose it, I feel like it was chosen during a difficult fortnight, meaning holidays are happening, lots of stuff is going on, very little time for me to play the Playdate, and I wish I could have had more time to push my scores even higher during these past couple weeks. I just didn't. It was the holidays,
It's
but
the rare score chaser where you didn't trounce us both
right,
completely.
you know,
So
I felt bad because I wasn't chiming in the pick of the week section on the Discord either. I felt like I kind of squandered my score chaser pick, but oh well, what do you do? Life happens, and I still had fun with it during the time that I did play it. And I'm glad to hear, Nick, you did too. Don, I'm sorry to hear it didn't quite resonate with you, but
I
sounds like there were a couple things you appreciated about it nonetheless.
I really wanted the controls to be reversible. To me, turning the crank
Hmm.
counterclockwise would go to the
hmm
left. Like if you're facing the screen.
It seems like that would be a really easy option to make happen.
So I was constantly going the wrong direction, and yeah, I think it'd be a nice uh quality of life change, but yeah,
I,
it was all
that
right.
that mental flip happened for me too, but I, could right myself after doing it and then saying, okay, that's not the right way, and then get my brain going the way the developer's brain was going. But for me personally, when there's lateral movement, like left to right, none of those cranks make sense to me, like in
yeah,
either
yeah.
direction, because it's like you're going forward or backward, not left and right. So I've just got to get into the brain of the developer and like, okay, this is the way this works for left and right. Uh, anyway, all that to say, I'm not sure there would be an orientation that would always make sense to my brain, but I think that would be a really cool option to have and probably pretty easy to implement, says the person who is not a developer.
I was gonna say you never know, right?
Cool. Any other thoughts on this game, guys?
I'm looking forward to getting back in and seeing if I can knock off those top scores, and they do
Yes.
feel achievable
Yeah.
with enough practice.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that I think makes this a great game. One final suggestion or like thing that kind of got me a couple times was the frame rate dips when different things would happen on the screen. I think I'm trying to remember, but I think it's when a crocodile comes on the screen. There's a frame halt that sort of happens briefly,
Really?
and yeah, and it makes it kind of challenging to time, especially as the crocodiles move at varying speeds. Um, so when you get up and things get really intense, it makes it really challenging, but it's not insurmountable. It's just one of those kind of quirks to work through.
Interesting.
And
I did
maybe
not
it's
notice
just,
that. I'll have to keep
well,
an eye
now
out for it.
you've got a different revision of Playdate, so
True.
perhaps
I
it
have
is
the big
different.
bad new Mamma Jamma.
Mhm.
Yes.
So on launch Playdate, perhaps it performs differently. I don't know that, but
Mm-hmm. Welp.
interesting.
I guess you'll just have to come over and play my Playdate.
Sounds
But
good.
until you're able to do that, Thank you both for playing this game with me. Thank you for all of our listeners who played this game with us as well. And if you would like to play our pick of the week with us, we have a dedicated channel in our Discord server that is quite often way more paid attention to than these past 2 weeks. My sincere apologies for not getting in there. Again, holidays got away from me. But um, next week, we have something else, which is going to be
In 2 weeks, we have Meta Arcade developed game. It is free on itch.io and it's called The Boss's Son. And this is a short narrative game, Don, would you say?
Yeah, it's a quick
Yeah.
narrative game.
Nick. I'm surprised you're supporting something from Mark Zuckerberg.
Different meta.
Okay.
All right. So that is next episode. But if you would like to get in touch with us in the interim, you can email us at helloplaydatepodcast@gmail.com. Find us on various social platforms like Instagram or Blue Sky. And generally just hang out in our Discord. Talk to us about your UI wishes for the Playdate generally. And let us know what you think about The Boss's Son.
It's worth mentioning that we're on YouTube now, and thank you for the positive feedback. A bunch of people reached out and said that their chosen podcast catcher thing was YouTube. So thank you, Nick, for
Hey.
getting that going, and thank you all for checking it out there.
Go, Nick. Go, Nick. You can find that at youtube.com/@HelloPlaydatePodcast.
There you go. Thank
Okay.
you all. We'll catch you soon.
So,
Happy New Year.
well,
Oh.
1 second. I've got a short plug.
Oh,
So recently, one of the things that I started making are music boxes, and I released these. This came to mind to plug because I was looking through itch.io earlier, and I saw the Playdate music box application, which uses a similar comb and cylinder style music box. Anyway, I have a little trailer that shows off the custom tune and the music box generally. And I thank you for listening, checking it out.
Yeah, we got to stick a link in the show notes of that for today's episode. Looks
Will
like
do.
it's not on your
It'll
website yet,
be there. Oh, it's on the website. Oh, yes.
oh,
is it?
yeah. Throw it
Yep.
in the show notes, and I'll throw it in
Yep.
our show notes.
Sounds
Okay.
good.
Fantastic. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, all. Catch you soon.
Happy New Year.